Hello everybody, thank you again for joining me today. Today I'm going to show you how to make sun catchers with cardboard and saran wrap and paint. So as you can see behind me, these are some I did with my children today, and they are in the window and they're letting the sun through them, and they look really nice when they're in the window together. And this is another example I did. So the frame is just cardboard, as you can see in the back. It's cardboard, and you can also see that I have glued saran wrap to the cardboard. So that's going to make a nice clear kind of surface to paint and collage on, and it's going to let the sunlight through. And then from there I'm going to paint and collage on top, and then you can also paint and collage on your border. So the materials for this project are very simple, and you'll need some cardboard. It's just a piece of cardboard I have laying around. And then you'll need some saran wrap. And to put the saran wrap on, I have a glue stick, but if you have any kind of glue, Elmer's glue or anything like that would work. I also have paint, so any kind of colors that you have laying around would work. And of course, a paintbrush and a cup of water. I also have some scissors and a pencil I'm going to use to draw my design out on my cardboard. This is some yarn I have. This is what I'll use to attach it to the window. So I also have some collage materials, and in this bag I have little chunks of paper and little chunks of felt. I even have some sequins in here. So this is what I'll use for my collaging. So if you have any cool paper at home, or just some plain colored paper, if you did the shaving cream marbling, you could cut that up at this point. If you have sequins around or anything that you'd like to put onto your sun catcher, that would be fine. Now to get this middle cut out, and to get the middle cut out of those so that way the sun will come through, I did use a knife. So I have an X-Acto knife, and I also have a cutting board. That is what I used. And of course this part of the project will have to be done with the help of a grown-up, just so that way everybody is safe. But you will need to somehow cut the middle out. Now if you don't have cardboard, you can also use a very thick paper as your frame, as your frame there. So that would be fine too, and then you can just use scissors at that point to cut the thick paper. So depends on what you have and who you have to help, would be where you would go from there. Alright, so let's get started, and I'll show you how to make a sun catcher using cardboard and saran wrap. Okay. So for my first step, I'm going to get my cardboard. And I also have ready a pencil or a marker for tracing. I've got my scissors here, and then I also have my knife and my cutting board, or however you plan on cutting out the middle. So this is what I'm going to be using. Now for this project, you can draw right on the cardboard. You can draw on another piece of paper and then trace that onto the cardboard. For this one that I did earlier, I just did a very simple square shape, so you can just keep it very simple. I actually have this cutout that I made earlier of a sun shape, and with a circle cut out in the middle. So I'm going to use this, and I'm going to trace it on. So this was basically, I drew a circle on a piece of paper, and then I drew the rays out, like triangles, and then I cut it out. So that's what I'll be using. And I'm going to use my marker just so you guys can see it. So I'll center it on my cardboard. Okay, so I have my shape drawn onto my cardboard. Now as you can see, this has some lettering on it, but you know what, that's okay, because I'm gonna paint this anyway, so I'm just going to ignore that for now. And if you are going to draw your own shape on here, make sure that it's kind of big and it fills up the whole piece here, and make sure that the shapes are simple and you're thinking about the negative space that's going to be cut out inside. Next I have to cut my shape out, so I'm going to cut the perimeter here with scissors, I think would work. So I'm just cutting this out and rotating it as I go to get in there easier. All right, so I've got my sun cut out. Now for the next step, I am going to use my knife. So again, if you have a grown-up to help you with a knife, then this would be the time to ask them for help. So I'm going to very carefully cut along this circle line here. It didn't go quite through all the way, so I'm going to have to go around again. And I'll pop that middle out. And there you go. You have a nice open circle here. Then that's where we're going to put our saran wrap and our colors. All right, so now that I have my shape cut out, I'm going to need my glue stick and I'm going to need my saran wrap. So I'm going to pull some saran wrap off. And again, when you're pulling saran wrap off, remember that there is this sharp edge here. So if you need help, then get it. And I'm gonna make sure that my saran wrap is big enough to fit over my hole. And I'll rip it off, set it aside. And then I'm going to take my glue and I'm actually just going to glue around the outside of this circle here. I don't need to glue on all of this because I just need it to stick over my circle. I'm gonna check which side I want to use. Okay. So I want this to be my front actually, so I'm going to glue on this end and I'm going to just do a nice even coat of glue around where my saran wrap will go. And then I'm going to take it, put it flat, and I'll start on kind of one end here, and then I'm going to pull it tight and then press it down. So that way it's nice and tight and smooth. Okay, that looks good. So as you can see if I can get the light there, it's a nice, smooth, kind of like a drum. That's what we want. And then of course we have all of this extra, which you just trim off. So you just take your scissors and just go along, trim it off. So then I'll flip it over and this will be the side that I'll be painting on. Okay, so now that I have the saran wrap on my sun catcher, I have a little setup here with some collage materials. I've got some cut paper and some cut felt. I even have a little bit of marbled paper here. I've also have some sequins. I've got my glue and I have a little bit of paint, my water and my brush, and then a little paper towel here to clean my brush. So first I'm going to start by adding a little bit of collage here. So I'm just going to take my glue and I'm just going to put a little dab on. Now it looks like I'm painting right onto my board here, but I'm really, I'm gluing right onto my saran wrap. So I'm going to just put a few shapes down. Now when you do this, they can be random. You can do it in kind of a very particular way. You could make a really cool design. I think I'm going to go around the circle here with some of these felt pieces. All right. So as you can see, those are all stuck right on there. And then maybe I've got this circle here. Maybe I'll put the circle in the middle. All right, I think I'm going to put a couple of these little sequins on. Another thing that works really well for these is tissue paper. So if you have any tissue paper, this would be great to use on these sun catchers because the sun would go right through. But any paper really, if you put in the window, the sun will go through. It makes a cool shadow too. All right, so now I'm going to use some paint. I've got my paintbrush here. And I'll take some blue. And I'm gonna go in here. That looks really cool on there. I'm not going to fill in the entire thing, but you can if you want to. It's just going to be some splotches of color. Use my brush. Dry it. Every once in a while you can pick it up and kind of see what it's looking like. So I'm just kind of, you can even mix colors right on there. I'm just kind of putting some color down, making it look nice. I like how the colors are mixing. So I will also paint my cardboard, and I think I'm going to paint it yellow. This is plain yellow on this cardboard, and I'm actually going to mix it with a little bit of white. That's going to help it become a little bit more opaque to cover that cardboard. So as you can see, it really brightens it up, and you can hardly see the cardboard at all. I'm going right to the edge. So I'm mixing a little bit of yellow and a little bit of white. And you can paint yours any color you want. Okay. So there's that. And as you can see, it's looking really nice, even on its own. And then once it's in the sun, that'll look really nice. So now you want to let your sun catcher dry. All right, so now once your sun catcher is dry, figure out what end you want to be up facing. So I think I'm gonna choose this for my top. And I need to put this string in the top here in order for it to hang. So I'm actually going to use a sharp pencil, and I'm just going to poke a hole right in. You gotta be careful here. Or if you have any other kind of sharp tool, that would work. So I just poked a little hole there. And now I'm going to put my yarn through that. Okay. And then I'll tie it. So now I'm going to find a window to put that in. For a window, you can just tape it onto the window, or you could hang it off of, you know, one of the little locks, or if you have like a little suction cup hanger, you could put that on too. Okay, so as you can see, mine is all dried and it's all hung up next to my others, and it's not a super bright and sunny day right now, but when the sun is shining in my window, this is gonna look really cool. And you can choose to have the painted side out this way, or you could flip it so the painted side is facing the road or the outside. Or you could also paint both sides, so that way both sides are painted. So the possibilities for these are endless. You could do any shape that you want. We've got a bug, we've got the moon, we've got the sun. We could do a plain square or a star, or anything that you want that's kind of simple and easy to cut out. All right, so if you do any of these and you'd like to share them with us in your window, that'd be really cool to see. So share them in our comments or email us images. Thank you again for joining me today, and I hope to see you next time.